The Minolta XG-9. Released in 1979 by Minolta, it's around $170 for just the body alone, and about $280 for the body and the 58mm 1.4 lens. That price is from around 1981 or so. Currently, you can pick them up for about $20 to $50 on eBay, depending upon kind of what lenses come with, if any, and condition, that sort of thing. But overall, pretty cheap, affordable price there. Uses standard 35mm film. Features interchangeable lenses with the Minolta MD mount. Does require batteries. It'll be two 1.5 volt silver oxide batteries is how it claims, but you can actually use modern AG13 or KS76 batteries. They don't need to be silver for it to function properly. Can you test the camera without batteries? No, you cannot fire the shutter in any mode without batteries. You can focus the lens, turn the dials, cock the shutter once if it's not already cocked, but after that you will then think it's locked and it won't work until you actually have power to fire the shutter. The way to test it is once you get some batteries, go ahead and try to flip on the little battery check, and that light should brightly illuminate. You load it just like a typical 35mm SLR. So just put it in the cartridge, feed it across, wind a couple times, and you're good to go. Focusing is with a standard split prism with a microprism array around it. And then that's also where the metering is, and you can even see the aperture setting through a little prism that's in the bottom of the viewfinder that lets you see what your lens is currently set to. So I'll be taking this camera out to Clifty Falls, and instead of using the included 50 or 58mm 1.4 lens, we're actually going to use this cheap little Vivitar 135 2.8 lens that I picked up. It's just a standard MD mount. Works just fine. So we'll be shooting that, and here's the journey. Here we are at Clifty Falls, where it's currently raining, so photos will be a little less walking around and a more peace. Let's see if from the comfort of my car I can take a fun picture of that puddle. Yeah, it's raining harder. We'll see. We found a shelter. What excitement to do with the shelter? Hard to say, but at least we can be outdoors. Same. And then maybe one of just you. The leaves on the picnic table are interesting. Alright, possible shot time. We're gonna shoot the raindrops falling towards me in here. This is so cool. Best I can do. We found another picnic area. Have it in here. What would be interesting to shoot? Alright, found a little overlook area. We'll get the film camera slightly wet here, but really wet depending upon what that rain comes on. Not something I'm super proficient in taking photos of, so we'll see. Oh yes, the rain. Very helpful. Found this lovely area out here. What do we do with this information? Enjoy the birds. Look at the lovely smoke tower thing there. Honestly, before I run out of film, I gotta get a picture of the bridge over there. Just weird enough to be interesting.
Roll is all shot. Time to rewind. Take it out and develop. I used Arista Edu Ultra 400 at native speed and developed in stock Ilford ID11, no stop bath, just rinse, and then used Ilford Rapid Fixer. Let them sit out to dry for a couple hours. I then cut the negatives with a paper cutter, but you could easily just use scissors. The photos were scanned in the most inefficient way possible with an Epson V600 scanner with all corrections disabled, and then corrected in Photoshop.
So in conclusion, highly recommend the camera. It's one of my easiest manual focus 35mm cameras that I have. Requires just a couple of really easy to get batteries, and it works reliably outside of mine being corroded, which I cleaned, and then it's perfectly reliable after that. Since it's consistently cheaper and less desirable than the Canon AE1, it is a good beginner camera, and most of the kit lenses are great, or you can easily find cheap lenses for the camera. All of the MD lenses seem to be much cheaper to get than any of the Canon FD equivalents. They're just far less adaptable for modern cameras, or at least they were with DSLRs. With modern mirrorlesses, you can use them, so you can pick up any good glass for this camera and put it on like a modern mirrorless, that sort of thing. The main drawback is the lack of metering in non-auto modes, so you don't really get any feedback on manual exposure. So the moment that you take it out of auto, you don't really have any feedback, it's not metering anymore. But it is a good way to learn how to manually meter, so you can pick up a light meter, use your phone, that sort of thing. And then if you needed to quickly just take a shot and you don't want to mess up the metering, you could just set it back to auto and it would work just fine. But then that way you can't like rely on the meter when you're in manual. But that's kind of unfortunate, but that, at least it's so much cheaper than getting like a Canon AE1, and it still gives you a good working metered camera with good lens choices. Overall, highly recommend this camera. See ya.